My name's Chris and I'm based in Vienna, and one of the things that I do is I'm a marketing consultant. Before Why Not 3, I was an employee for about 12 years in one specific company. My habits were not conducive to entrepreneurship. My perfectionism was something I was aware of but hadn't been able to crack, and I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. I had tried various courses, entrepreneurship courses, marketing courses, but I hadn't been able to build a business because of the perfectionism, frankly. I believed that producing the perfect script, website, design, presentation was going to get me the sale and get me the result. As a matter of fact, the perfectionism was crippling to the extent that I didn't actually get anything out into the real world for about 3 years of trying in the creation phase, but never making it to the execution phase. So I would spend a long time for my website. The app that had to be absolutely perfect. Of course, it never was. So I was aware of those habits and I needed help. But it wasn't actually what I approached Why Not 3 for help with. I approached Why Not 3 for help with productivity, becoming more productive. What I didn't realize was it was actually the perfectionism that had to be broken, and the only way to do that was to actually go out there, make the sales, focus on selling, and then worry about the website and the delivery and so on. For someone like me, who's creative and contemplative and reflective and tends to spend a lot of time in their head analyzing, the old paralysis by analysis springs to mind. That's me, or was. I'm much more aware of it now, so I'm able to see it when it arises, and I'm aware when it does, much more than I was before, so that I can actually, and it's been quite the shift, just recognize that and let it go. For a perfectionist, hasn't been the easiest thing to do, but I've actually seen the value in doing that because of the exercises I've done through Why Not 3. For example, in the first week, Why Not 3, Lova had me actually do a kind of small business within itself. All I was doing was selling pens at the mall. But that in and of itself, we made a whole system around it, and we treated it like a kind of incubator for entrepreneurship. So I would choose my product range, buy my pens, make my prices, and I had to have, the discipline to go out there every day, even if it's snowing, even if it's a bad day and I'm getting rejected a lot. I had to go through that process. I had to get out there into the real world with something that I thought, or made some assumptions about whether it would work or not. Try that, see what stuck, see what didn't work, refine my process, refine my script, track my results at the end of the day, see that whole process as a system to be optimized. So that was very insightful because it gave me a reference experience to draw upon later in the other things that I did. And it gave me, as I said, that ability to just let the perfectionism be and go regardless and just do it. And the result is that I actually now am no longer an employee, I'm self-employed, I have the results paid off huge, I'm in a profession that I love, my whole personality's changed, my priorities are different, I see the need to focus on selling in any business, on executing, on getting things done, even when they're not perfect, which has been a big one. Perfectionism, living in the head, you're always wrong no matter what. You're always self-critical and judging your work to the extent that you never put it out. And through Why Not 3, I realized that is a lie. That process is a waste of time, it's an illusion, it's a delusion. And one of the great things that Lova did was he put me under pressure to not have the luxury or time to go into my head and allow the perfectionism to take over. By putting myself in a strict, controlled environment where I had to go out there, hit my approaches, hit my sales goals, and I had to report back, reflect on how things had gone, what I could improve, what I could do better the next day, refine, go in with a new script the next day, come back with and see my results, compare, all that sort of thing. That gave me a taste of the work that is actually involved in entrepreneurship. The fact that it's necessary to keep selling, because the reality is if you don't, you're not going to be able to pay the wages, and you're never going to be self-employed and be able to sustain yourself. So we managed to emulate that while I was still an employee, to give me the beginnings of the mindset of what was necessary to make it as an entrepreneur. And that's something that I would recommend to anyone. Having somebody who's been through the process, literally hold your hand essentially, as an accountability force that helps you move past your demons, get out there in the real world and just do it, is invaluable. You know, it was difficult to make that deal with myself, to let the perfectionism go and to just be okay with something that was good enough but not perfect, that got the job done but didn't excel first time, which was something I was kind of obviously hung up on, was a breakthrough. And having that force, that accountability force, putting pressure on me, not only putting pressure on me, but having someone I could go there, report my fears and concerns, my questions, the roadblocks, the hurdles, the walls I came up against, and to get quick solutions and suggestions on what to do next to get me the result as quickly as possible. It was just like a boot camp for entrepreneurs. It got me out of myself. It got me out of the habit of being that previous version of myself and into the moment, just doing stuff where stuff actually happens and real growth occurs, which I hadn't been able to do by myself. I hadn't been able to put myself in that high intensity growth situation myself, and I needed to get through it after 3 years of miserable results. And I finally got it. I finally understood what it takes to make it as an entrepreneur. I thought the courses were going to get me the sales. What I didn't know, what I didn't realize was that going out there and getting the sales was going to get me the sales. And my mind was playing tricks on me, telling me, yeah, this isn't ready, this isn't perfect, this needs reworking, this is not covering everything. And of course that's a lie. After Why Not 3, I realized that was a complete lie. And that the only thing that gets the result is getting out there in the real world, doing it, seeing what sticks, refining your process, having a tracking system, having accountability in some form or other. That's what works, actually doing it. But it was necessary to have that system in place, that accountability partner, that system of a coach, to put me under that pressure, to push me in a certain direction, to be able to reflect back with, to debrief after and figure out, you know, where my demons were quickly and get through that process. That really helped. And the result is now that I'm far more able to let go of the perfectionism as it arises, and I'm much more aware of it, so I detect it quicker, I can nip it in the bud, and that means that actually stuff gets done. I'm now okay with things that are good enough, 80% ready, just not perfect, because there's nothing that's 100% perfect. It took me a while to realise that. I don't really know.